Hey guys, welcome to another video. So before we jump into it, I've actually got a big announcement, everyone. So I know a lot of you guys have been wanting me to start up my own Discord channel, so I've gone ahead and done that. So within this Discord channel, the way it's going to work is, there's going to be an area for content requests. So if you want to request a certain specific topic, or you want to kind of talk about the YouTube content, or you want to ask questions about solo queue, you want to talk to me privately about some of your games, this is where to do it. And hopefully we can build a community around people who are really wanting to improve at mid lane, and we can all help each other out. So yeah, I'm going to leave the invite link in the description below. So if you're interested in joining and being a part of my community, feel free to join in. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to take on a lot of advice and requests. I haven't really done a Discord channel before, so if there's anything you want to see in it, just let me know, and I'll be sure to add it in, and maybe even give you guys, a few of the founding members, some admin, if that's something you guys want to do. So cheers. So the way I want to do this video, I'm actually going to do this very uniquely. So I've been looking at a lot of videos on YouTube, and for me, I've actually recently picked up ZOE, and I spent a lot of games over the last 3 days on ZOE. So what people don't talk about is, how do the matchups actually change how you play them out? Because when I try to look at VODs or reviews, no one just tells me, how do I play the lane? They tell me how to play ZOE, what the abilities do, but no one tells me how to play the specific lanes against different matchups. So the way I want to do this video is I'm going to go through 3 specific matchups that I think encompass all the different types or categories of how you play ZOE. So the first one's going to be ZOE versus Kassadin. The next one's going to be ZOE versus LeBlanc, and the last one's going to be ZOE versus Nocturne. So each of these 3 lanes pretty much encompasses all the differing types of situations you're going to be in and how you should approach each laning phase. And we'll dive right in. And the first game versus Kassadin, I'll run through the entire game, and then the next 2 I'll kind of just run through the first 10 minutes so you get a gist of how you want to approach those lanes. So firstly, before we jump in, I've tested a lot of different rune pages. So for runes on ZOE, what I recommend is Electrocute. So I've tested Airy, but I still feel like Electrocute is the best in pretty much most matchups. And I like going Taste of Blood, and people ask, why don't you like Sudden Impact? Well, Taste of Blood, in my opinion, works really well within the laning phase. You already have insane burst with your combo with your ultimate anyway. Yes, you get that extra damage with the lethality or whatever that, with your leap, but I just don't think it adds, you're already doing so much damage in that combo that extra damage isn't really going to cover her weaknesses. Her early laning phase and staying healthy in lane allows you to do a lot more, in my opinion, so I recommend Taste of Blood. I like Ghost Poro personally for those deep wards to spot out the enemy, and then I like to go just Ravenous Hunter for that extra healing. And then in secondary tree, the 2 ones I recommend is either Time Warp Tonic and Biscuits for heavy trading in lane and sustain, or Dematerializer and Time Warp Tonic, because in lane matchups where you really want to push, or say it's a really, you struggle, because ZOE actually struggles to kill cannon minions, Dematerializer can come in handy, and that's something that I'll kind of get into as this video comes along, but that's also a preference. So that's something I would also recommend experimenting with in your own games to see if you actually like Dematerializer, because a lot of people don't like using it, but I actually personally really love it. So for this first game, it's ZOE versus Kassadin. But the thing is, you play this lane very similar to how you would verse Fizz, Zed, Kiana, even Akali sometimes. This is how you verse those low range, very poor level 1, level 2, level 3 champions that allow you to get a minion lead. So the way I recommend playing these sorts of matchups is you queue level 1 the first 3 creeps. Because if you hit all 3 creeps level 1 like this, what this is going to allow you to do is it pretty much already guarantees that you're going to get the shove and be able to build a minion wave into them. So look at this. Already, I've used my passive auto attack on the minion, and I've kind of starting to get the shove, and I'm auto attacking to make sure I can create a minion lead. And the reason this is important is because now Kassadin has to make a choice, because he has such low wave clear. He's either going to have to get in range to auto-attack the minions, in which I can just poke him, or he has to use his abilities on me. If he uses his Q on me, I'm going to be able to stack a huge minion wave, and then I can build a wave into him, poke him under tower, or help my jungler do an invade or something. So notice this, look, he walks up. If he ever walks up to auto attack creeps, I can look to either Q him or auto him like this. I can just walk past the minions because I got this minion advantage. I don't know why I autoed the minion there, but you can kind of see the premise of this lane already. Because if the lane was just stuck in the middle, Kassadin doesn't have to make a choice. He can just Q me and then also hit the minions. There's no choice to be made. So this is the same for you, like those other champions, like I said, you know, Kiana level 1, weak. Zed level 1, quite weak. Fizz level 1, quite weak. And notice this is allowing my jungler to play aggressively, because he knows that I'm going to get to every fight first, because I've got this wave. And if the enemy mid laner chooses to follow, then, you know, he's going to miss out a lot of CS here. And actually, I'll go back just a tad here, just to kind of explain my thought process as well. Is notice how here, when Kassadin walks up like that, see, notice how when this minion was low, I started to posture this way, and then look to throw my Q here. So the reason this is, again, you're making him make a choice. Is he willing to walk up here and take damage, trade his H bar for a minion, or is he just going to give it up completely, in which you're just going to get a minion advantage? So that's the way you kind of want to approach these lanes, is constantly make them make a choice. And again, see there, he's walked up here to try and auto attack this minion, so then I'm making sure that I'm in range, so then I can just auto attack him as well and constantly look to punish him, to put on the hurt. Because again, I am happy to take these trades because I have Corrupting Pot as well, and he started Doran's. And now look at this, I've got the wave built in, so I'm instantly able to back up my jungler here. And these jungle river skirmishes are so good for ZOE early, especially when you take your W level 2, because now, since I've got my W level 2, if anyone uses Ignite, Flash, or anything, I'm going to be able to completely win all those fights. So now, look, Kassadin, because he chose to follow, look at this. He's missing, and I'm going to just draw on the minimap here, he's missing all of this farm under the tower. And then also, I excel in these fights. So what you need to do is, what I should have done is actually use my Corrupting Pot way earlier and Ignite way earlier here. But I use because I get 2 Ignites here, so I get to Ignite him twice, and then he has to Flash. And I'm not greedy and don't chase after him. My jungler ends up dying because he overextended too much. But again, this is so good for my lane, because Kassadin already missed so much, and now the wave is slow building out. And I pinged his Flash. Here, I think I actually time it later. And now I'm trying to thin the wave. So the reason in this situation, after you shove it in like this, it's going to start slow pushing back to you. And now, because the wave's getting quite big, you want to thin it a little bit so it doesn't just automatically crash into your tower, because it's getting quite out of control at the moment. So I'm just trying to thin it a bit. And now, what do we see about this wave situation? Well, we're versing a Kassadin now, who's level 2, has no Flash. I have a Lee Sin jungle. So what does that mean? I should be communicating with my jungler to try and get a kill on this Kassadin while he has no Flash before he's level 6. This is free. So look at this. So the way is now here, and look what I type here. I said mid easy kill, and I already pinged his Flash. So right now, I'm just kind of and I ping his Flash again, and right now I'm not hard pushing or anything. I'm just kind of keeping the wave here, because I know that if my jungler comes, this is a free kill. And the benefit is I still have Flash and I have my E, which is really good gang setup. So I've pinged his Flash. I know he hasn't warded as well, because he hasn't ducked out of vision at all. He came straight back to lane. And now what you can do is you can just Flash, point blank, E, get the Q, bang, kill. Simple. And this is, again, 2 things. Punishing the Flash, communicating with your jungler, and then also utilizing the fact that you have XP lead, and then you also have insane gank setup, because you have your Flash and your E, which means you're pretty much guaranteed to hit the bubble. So now I just shove this out, and then I want to look for a reset. So fast forward this, and now I base. So now I want to work towards my lost chapter, and you can see I'm timing that Flash, 755 mid Flash, 755 mid Flash. And the beauty is, I said, look, can go again, he has no wards. That's literally what I'm saying in chat right now. So if Lee Sin didn't go bot here, what I actually would recommend is he actually camp the side bush, because he has no wards and he has no Flash. And we can just kill him, because it's actually slow pushing towards me. So, my first mistake this game, what I recommend on ZOE personally, is this pink ward should actually be here. And the reason is that if you pink this bush, whenever you duck out of vision, you can just walk up here and start bubbling from the side. But this ward, it's better for roaming, and it's better for like spotting the enemy jungler. But since I'm versing a Zac, it's kind of useless. And then also, I want to just be playing to kill this Kassadin. And if I sit in the bush here, it just creates a lot more threat because I can just look to bubble from the river here. That's just my personal experience. Either are fine. That's just a little adaptation you can do. And what I should have done here also is I actually should have used that time to get a deep ward. So see how sloppy this ward is here over the wall? I should have walked up all the way into the Raptors and got a ward in the Raptors. So again, I'm constantly spamming Kassadin Flash, and I'm trying to make sure this doesn't crash into tower. I know I'm really strong. I hit a bubble. Proc the bubble with and I'm constantly auto-attacking him. I'm trying not to let this wave crash. I'm trying to thin the wave. And now my jungler's comes, listen to me. He should have waited for my E, but we're still able to get a pretty good chunk on Kassadin here. Because he has to base it. Lee Sin has to base anyway. And now, what am I thinking? Well, already, straight away, I don't want this wave to be able to crash into tower, because then he can either look for a reset, he can look to get vision, he can look to do something. But now, if I kind of keep it in this area, I know he doesn't have flash. My ignite's coming up in 8 seconds. I can actually look to all in him down the long lane as long as I can keep the wave in this position. So notice how I'm just thinning the wave quite a bit here, using my auto attacks as much as I can. And my Q if I think that it's building too much. And now he walks up too far. I just run at him, ignite him, making sure I'm auto attacking, get the double ignite off, and then I get a really clean kill here. And this is just a combination of utilizing Zoe's, utilizing the movement speed, ability to just walk at someone and chase them down, and your electrocute. Unfortunately, I saw Lee Sin on top river, so I'm like, there's no way Zac's here. Like I had like this fake assumption that I was gonna be safe, but I ended up just dying here randomly. So not the end of the world, but I still kind of get the kill here. And what I also like doing on Zoe is I like to get boots. Boots really works well on Zoe because you're skill shot oriented, so it really like kind of works with his kit that helps you hit skill shots a lot more and tether a lot easier. And see how I say in chat, still not 6, 755 mid flash, and then I ping assist me mid. So I'm constantly communicating with jungler what I want. Junglers don't know what laners want a lot of the time, so they have to guess and make educated guesses. I'm not taking that risk. I'm telling him what I want. So I come back to lane here. And the only bad thing about my inventory is that I didn't have space for a pink ward, but it is what it is. And I'm just trying to CS under the tower here as much as I can. Pretty easy, and you can use your ult as like a get to proc your passive. And okay, so right now in this position, what I'm thinking, there's two ways I want to do this. Either I want to slow build a wave into a roam, because right now it's getting to the point where I kind of can't poke him under tower because Zac can just jump over Raptor Pit. So I'm thinking as I'm walking this lane, how do I want to play this lane? I think it's either two things. I'm either trying to keep the wave in this area so again Lee Sin can gank, but I feel like he's already ganked enough. So I can't remember what I do here, but in hindsight, if I were to review this game, I would try and want to slow build a wave into roaming and impacting the map, in my opinion. But now again, since he does it, I can just walk past the wave like this because, and this is the strength of Zoe, because you have your bubble. So actually go back here. What I recommend is that in these situations, especially when you're versing a mobile mage or something like that, you can just walk at them, use your Q, make him dodge, and then you E like that, and then you can just get the auto passive after, because that's a way more reliable way of proccing your E, because they have to dodge the Q and they kind of zigzag, and it allows you to close the gap. So now it seems like I'm able to get a nice little slow push. I think I'm actually pinging Kassadin here, because he's not level 6 yet. And I see Fiora roaming from top, and I see Lee Sin around Raptors. So I think here we're just either trying to deny all this farm. An equally good play here is to just literally roam down here to bot lane and try and kill bot lane here. Or top. Roam to any side. Preferably bot, because if we killed bot, we can get Dragon off the back end. But an equally good play, if you don't want to sit here denying Kassadin and CS under tower, would be to roam bot, which I actually think is probably even the better play. But because we were kind of fixated on shutting down this Kassadin, like he's level 5, I'm level 7, we just felt like it was the play. So I'm just kind of shutting Kassadin down. And now he has 6, so it's a little bit trickier. So now I just see my jungler looking to invade these wolves. So I'm trying to like help him. Nearly hit a bubble, just misses. And this is the beauty of ZOE, is that you are so good at these river skirmishes and 2v2s. That's what you want to be playing towards. So notice here, I remember in game, this was a huge mistake. What do we see? Hecarim shoved out top, and Fura's pinged missing. What does that mean for me? I'm in extreme danger. Hecarim top's just going to roam down, and he's going to look to kill me here. So here, what I should have done is I should have leaned onto the bot side. I probably should have even just let it come to me a little bit. And just chill. But because I don't chill, I get kind of ganked. I proc his passive, but then I didn't even think about Hecarim in the game, and end up dying here, which is... This is all on me. And, you know, mid laners most of the time would kind of complain, oh, top losing and he's roaming. No, like that's just me. He pinged, that's my bad. And that's something I would look in review. Like, you can pick up your game, Curtis. Like, that's just not listening to pings. I'm focusing too much on my 1v1 there. So this is actually quite bad. Like, me dying, losing quite a bit of CS there. Let's just fast forward. So right now, if I were to coach someone in this position, I would say stop playing towards the Kassadin now. You need to use your move. I'll just push and move to sides. That's what I would be recommending right now. So the only problem with roaming like this right now is that you need to be conscious of everyone on the map. What do we see here? Well, when you want to roam on ZOE, because you're actually not that mobile, you need to be super careful of, you need people around you. You want to play for 2v2s. My jungler's not quite near me, but the main thing is that look at my AD carry and support. They're in base right now. So yes, I'm roaming and getting vision here, but I know that their support's going to get here first. And if a fight breaks out, it's not going to be good for us because our support's no way going to get there. Their bot lane's going to get here first. So I'm assuming that was warded. I'm not sure. So I end up having to blow flash here to kind of prevent us from dying, which is bad. And that's just sloppy gameplay again. Not playing, not identifying the location of my teammates. So right now, again, if I was coaching myself, I would recommend, because I can't punish this guy. So it's either one or two things. You're either trying to punish this guy by killing him 1v1, so keeping the wave in the middle, slash it on your side. I can't do that. He's a Kassadin. He's too slippery to gank. I can't beat him 1v1 anymore because he's Kassadin. So I just want to play for roams. Now, look at how I play this skirmish. It's a river skirmish. I see Hecarim on the side up here, who TP flanked. I know Kassadin's coming in from here, and I know Karma's trying to escape here. So what do? Notice this. I don't just walk into river here, because it's unreliable to hit my E, because I'm just going to be... It's just really tricky. And I know if I walk too deep here, Hecarim could potentially flank me. So what I'm thinking is, okay, like, let me walk up around this way. If Hecarim walks around here, I can just E him and stop his engage on the team. And if I walk around here and Kassadin tries to escape, I can E over walls. And this is something you really need to be thinking about when you're playing ZOE in these games, is river skirmishes are your, that's your dream. You know, that's your thing. That's your thing, you know. It's like, that's what you're aiming for, because these walls provide so many opportunities to lengthen your E, so you can get a lot of good E's off. And it's just the way to go on ZOE. These river skirmishes is what you want to be doing. And notice here, again, like I said, it's a lot easier for me to hit my E because I'm completely out of vision over here. It extends the range. I'm also kind of providing cover for my team here. And it's just these really good positions for ZOE. I was trying to find Hecarim, but I think he just must have reset up there somewhere, so we'll just play for Dragon here. Let's just fast forward a little bit here. Again, I go back mid. And again, I don't really want to play to Kassadin. So what am I doing? Kassadin end up roaming top. So if you've watched a lot of my videos, what is my recommendation? And ZOE's great at this, is just pushing and moving. Not getting plates. That's not my style. If I want to carry a game, I need to influence the map. Plates don't do shit for me. So again, I roam. I've got my redemption here as well. I just missed my bubble here. I'm unsure if this was warded or if they knew I was here. I'm unsure. Like, if I'm a better Zoe, I think I hit this E, but I end up fucking it up. And I end up like kind of panicking because I missed my E and then just completely messing this up. So I just use the redemption, walk at him and just try and auto him. And here we end up getting the kill, but it just was not pretty. So there I would recommend just play a lot more patient. After you've missed the E, you need to take into account the location of the wave and just play patient. My jungler's there, wait for the wave to crash, then I can look to collapse in and hit my Q. While I'm here, get a few autos on the tower, try and get a plate, and then I just back up. The reason I went Mercury Treads here is because they have a lot of CC, like Zac and Ashe, and I feel as though that extra MR is actually quite helpful in this game since they have like Kassadin, Zac, and Karma. And then also, I need that movement speed. I feel like movement speed is actually quite important on... Usually I'd go Sorks, but just Mercs for this game. And again, what do you want to see me doing? I get blue here, and you want to see me now not really interacting with Kassadin anymore. I'd mainly just want to be pushing and moving. And here I'm able to kind of use my little smite to kind of get out with my movement speed. Pretty safe. But again, I don't really want to be interacting with Kassadin too much here. And this is the same, like once you verse a lot of these, and this is because again I died to that roam from Hecarim. You can notice how just one death can completely change the way your lane plays out. Obviously, if I could completely shit on this guy again and again and again, I would be less focused on roaming, and not doing things like this, just pushing and moving. But because Zoe is so good at this, because your wave clear is just nuts, you just sit to the side, wind up your Q the wave, and just look to roam. Alright, this is something that I also like recommend doing. For some reason, Senna's just grouped mid here and looking to poke mid tower. I don't agree with this play. I think he should be bot with Ezreal getting bot tower. If this is the case and you ever are in this position to try and set up a siege on mid, what you should do is duck out of vision on the side here, walk around here and look for E's this way. And this is a really good, and if these raptors are down and what you can actually do is walk in here and you know you have a deep ward, you can just E over here as well. So these nice little pockets here are really good for creating like threat on here. So then what happens a lot of the time you see is that then they have to walk all the way back here, and then this creates space for you guys to get the tower. I'm drawing a lot here. I'm a bit of an artist, as you can tell. But yeah, this is like kind of what I recommend for Zoe. So you can kind of see what I was trying to do here. I force him to R backwards, which allows us to get a nice little plate here. But I don't even agree with this play because again, top's just roaming. I don't want to be playing towards Kassadin. I want to be roaming myself. And then we end up donating, Senna ends up donating Kassadin a shutdown, which is really not optimal here. And then shit hits the fan. So notice here, I kind of just push in here. Yeah, so I just push in. And because I can't punish Kassadin, and what's my default response? I don't really need to base. I don't have enough gold for Ludens, so it's to roam. I know. So my initial intention was, okay, let's just see if anyone is going to kind of go down through this jungle here and try and maybe pick him in transition. If not, I know someone is going to have to pick up this bot wave. There's no point. I've already got the wave in mid. I don't need to be mid. I haven't got enough gold for my Ludens. Let's see if I can look for a pick on this Ashe in bot. Because also I know, since they just played for this Rift Herald on top, I'm drawing on the minimap here, I know they won't have any vision on bot side here because they've committed to top side. So I know I'm pretty safe in vision. So I go over this terrain, land a nice little bubble, ignite him, auto attack, boom, dead. And this is another thing what you do. That's why Zoe's so good at roaming, because you're coming in from the side, you're going over that terrain. It's a lot easier for you to hit bubbles out of vision. It's a nice little play there. So now it's kind of heading into mid game, and what I really want to be doing is shoving, and I want to be letting Ezreal go mid. The reason I'm coming mid here is because Dragon's coming up. And as Zoe, it is your utmost importance to play around objectives. You're not a split pusher. You're not really that good. You're okay at sieging, but around objectives, around these choke points, around this terrain, this is your domain. So now, if a fight breaks out around any of these jungle fights or anything, you know, I can come here and bop this Zac. I can bubble anyone I want whenever. It's super easy. Pick up all these summoners. Secure with this dragon. And then now I'll be looking to send Ezreal mid and then me into the side lane. Because they don't need me to help Dragon, it's just more efficient for me to shove mid here. Get this in. pick up another ignite, get a few auto attacks off, and now you'll see me start to go to the side lane. And now because Ezra actually based, I decided, okay, let me just catch one more mid wave before I go to the side. Let me fast forward over this, and now I start going to the side lane. So because Zoe is not good in the side lane, you have to be extremely vigilant about your jungler's location, his ability to back you up, and just overall vision. Now that I see Hecarim dead, I know Zax's quite low or not really, doesn't have much threat on me. I saw Kassadin bot, I'm pretty sure. Kassadin's bot. I know I'm completely fine to shove this out. So I take my time. I shove out 2 whole waves here. Again, this is, if you've seen a lot of my videos, you know that shoving out side waves and not just getting the one wave is a really good way to stay ahead and farm and stay on, like, kind of within grasp on the clock. And now on my way through, I get a nice little deep ward, and this is where I can be looking to set up flanks with the, you know, through the terrain here, getting bubbles from the side. Pushing and moving. You don't want to stay in the side. You either want to push and reset or push and move. And look at this. I had the perfect queue set up here. I'm coming in from the side. They're all committed. I got this nice little bowling alley here to hit this, nail this. Look, I'm nailing this guy. I know I'm going to nail this guy. And I know the Rift Herald, I thought the Rift Herald's just going to go here. I'm going to nail him. What do we see? Oh, why does it? And then the Rift Herald just turns like that. I was just going to one-shot Ashe, but then I still get the bubble, but Rift Herald trolled me there, which is quite annoying. But you can kind of see the premise. Pushing and moving, coming in from the side, create out of vision, creating that surprise factor. And notice how, again, here, look how I'm posturing here. I'm looking to look for bubbles if someone shows. But looks like no one. See how I'm constantly posturing on the side? I'm not just sitting under the tower. I'm looking to bubble someone on the side here. Fast forward a touch. We're able to get a nice little siege going on, get some towers, and the game's getting quite out of control. We're getting quite far ahead now. Got a lot of gold, nearly got 2k gold. Trying to reset. I know that they're trying to stop us because Ashe is just like throwing his little eagle thing at me. Hawk thing, whatever. Bird vision thing. This must have been watered as well, so he just cues me. I'm like, alright, if you want to play that game, 2 can play that game. I use my cleanse for a bit of extra movement speed. Again, pick up the smite, get another kill. And again, while I'm here, what do I say? While you're in the area, it's a very good habit to get into to get the sideways. And this is how you don't get behind and farm. And when I see a lot of people in, even like Diamond, they just don't farm. And this is like, I've got okay farm, I've got 150 by 90 minutes. It's not perfect, but again, considering the pace of the game and how many times like I've died and stuff like that, it's better than most. So I come back out. What I want to look to be doing now is playing around this dragon as it's coming up. Alright, and I just want to point this out quickly, because I think this is really important. When the sieges start to happen mid, look at how my default response is to not just run up mid like this. It's to always default to the side to look for E's like this. So now I can look for an E through here. I can maybe maneuver around here. I can maybe look for an E through here. I'm constantly looking for ways to E. And now I see him rift walk, so I'm able to get a nice little bubble. He rift walks again. I get a max rounds Q onto this Ashe and just pop him. So it's your job as Zoe to play and maneuver around terrains. And I don't believe in these videos trying to tell you, oh, this is a perfect boot, this is the perfect angle, sit here and you get this sick bubble. No, play around yourself. You guys, you have a brain. You can play around in games, experiment with different angles. Make sure your E is not on SmartCast. That's something I highly recommend when you play Zoe. Make sure it's not on SmartCast so you can kind of see the line of trajectory. Figure it out yourself. Have a go. I watch videos trying to tell you, oh, this is the best bush to do E's. Fuck that. Honestly, play the game yourself. Feel it out. Create your own identity when you're playing Zoe. In this video, I'm just trying to show you the mindset and the fundamentals behind it. Have a go in your own games. I just made up that location in this game. I have no idea. And yes, I did coach a lot of good Zoe in pro play. Like I did triple from, now he's playing on FlyQuest. He was an extremely good Zoe and I kind of learned a lot of Zoe off him. But predominantly, this is just playing my own thing. And notice how, again, I'm constantly just lining up my E just to see what the angles are going to be. I don't know if it's not on SmartCast, you know? So I'm doing that and just screwing around at this point. And the game looks like it's pretty out of control. There's not really much you're going to learn from much on. We siege a little bit. We get the dragon on the back end. And then we end up kind of... And I'll push out the side. I don't just default to go mid because I want to keep up my farm. And then we end up just playing around Baron, getting a nice little pick here. Play fights I can play fights however I want because I'm so fed and I've got kind of all my summoners and we're really strong. And that's pretty much it. This is pretty much the game. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to run through 2 more quick laning phases, at least just the early laning phases, to kind of see, and you guys can compare it with this game to see how I played the level 1, to see how the lanes differ, and what the key fundamentals you need to understand in other sorts of lane matchups. So keep watching. So guys, this is the next game where it's ZOE versus LeBlanc. And so straight away, you're going to see, what's this first thing that you see differently? Why aren't you queuing level 1? I've seen this on VODs. In ZOE versus LeBlanc, and this is the same versus like Orianna versus Veigar, sometimes versus Akali, depending on the jungle major, Ahri, any of these kind of standard bread and butter mid lane mages, you don't want to queue level 1. The reason is that you don't want to be pushing into them too far, and you don't want to be getting pushed in. You really want it in this sweet little spot in the middle. And the reason is this allows you to do like pokes like this or pokes like this. But if you're committed too far in the lane like this, LeBlanc's just going to be able to all in me and set up, because a lot of these mages have a lot of good gank setup. Ahri has decent gank setup. Veigar has good gank setup. LeBlanc has good gank setup. I can't reliably poke them under tower without dying myself. So, and as well, if I get pushed in, it's going to be really difficult for me to punish him, because now I'm focusing using my abilities on the minion wave. So what do I have to do? Keep it in the middle. And this is how I recommend playing this matchup. So it'll make a lot more sense as this plays out. So level 1, what I want to do is just match. See, I'm just auto attack. If he auto attacks, I'm going to auto attack. Auto attack, keep it in the middle. If he W's on me, I'm just going to auto attack him back. I use my corrupting pod here, auto, proc my electrocute. And again, I'm just keeping it in the middle, keeping it in this nice little pocket here. Because and again, when you're versing any of these champions with long cooldowns, I know his W is a lot longer cooldown than my Q. So I see that. I know his cooldown's longer than mine. So then I can walk up here and then look to Q him. Walk past me, because I know his cooldowns aren't going to be up. And this is just straight fundamentals of mid lane. If you know he has longer cooldowns, you can get 2 for 1 here. 2 for 1 deal. You know, when you go shopping, you get like a 2 for 1. Buy one, get one free. That's the way I kind of explain that one. Again, notice how the wave's in a really nice little pocket here. Q it if I feel like it's going to get too big. So I get my E level 2 instead of W here, because I feel like he's just going to W on me. So I actually make a mistake in this first trade here. What's wrong with this trade right now? What's wrong with this positioning? Straight away, when you're versing any of these champions that want to dive onto you, you need to separate yourself from their minions. So I need to be either over here or over here. And the reason is if he chooses to W on me right behind this minion, like this, I'm not going to be able to E him, because my bubble's just going to hit this minion. So what I should be doing is standing on the outside here, so that if he W's on me, then I can just E him back. And then I can just get the chunk on the back end here. But look at this. I'm right behind this minion. It's not too bad. I use my Q. And right now, like, I'm just so confused. And he's gone at an angle. And I'm like, and look at this. His W's behind this minion, so I can't just E him. It's just really difficult for me to get an E. So this is really bad. And you'll see on my next trade how I kind of fixed that up a little bit. You'll see what I mean. And notice I'm trying to get Q on the back end because his cooldowns are quite high. Now look where I'm standing here. Wait a second. Keeping it in the middle. And now look at this. Notice how I'm starting to posture out here. Now if LeBlanc wants to W me, he has to do it in this really long line. It's going to be super obvious. It's going to be like a max range W, and I'm going to be able to easily hit him with an E. And if I kind of tether him correctly, he's going to even have to walk up here to W, then start his W here, and then W. And which is just going to be above in front of these minions. So, again, I'm standing on the outside, getting a little bit of poke. If he walks in like that, I charge up my E like that. Bang. Auto ignite. Now you know which one's ignited, and then you can just chase him down. And that is something that you need to do when you're playing ZOE. Let me go back one more time. You need to have balls. Okay, you need to have balls. You need to be able to understand that your early damage with electrocute and your ignite and corrupting pots and auto attacks is unbelievably strong. As soon as I get this Q here, and notice I'm already using my E to kind of gauge. As soon as he walks past his minions, I'm looking to E. And then He walks past the minions. I E, I auto attack. I'm constantly auto attacking. I auto ignite instantly, chase him down. And he can't escape me because I get the movement speed boost. I get the electrocute procs. I get the auto attacks. I get the extra damage with my corrupting pot. I'm just popping off right now. So this is how I recommend playing these sorts of matchups. You're playing kind of in and out of the minions. You're trying to land your E. As soon as you land your E in the early game, getting that ignite, chasing them down the lane because it's in the middle, and allows you to kind of get a nice little reset here. And you can notice how this is already completely different from the way the Kassadin laning phase panned out. So fast forward just a tad here. My jungle is getting invaded, and this is I actually completely, and I kind of want to show you guys this because this is even good ZOEs do this sometimes. So here, so notice how I'm walking and I'm trying to line up my E here. That's not very straight line, Curtis, but I'm trying to line up my E here. And so this is why having it not on SmartCast can be a really good way to do it. And I actually kind of panic and I walk here thinking that I was just going to be able to get the nice little E here and pick Graves as he walked through, but I completely screw up my E and I trolled my team there, which is not optimal. Now I don't have my E for this trade, so I actually just have to back up, and I can't even go for this pink because I don't have my E. And you need to be, and you're super, and that's something to note, guys. When you don't have E, you're extremely vulnerable. So what do I want to do in this position? Again, I don't want to let LeBlanc build big waves into me. Why is that, you ask? Well, if LeBlanc's able to build waves into me, he can just roam freely, destroy my jungler, destroy my side lanes. I want to be able to, as this wave crashes back, I want to try and keep it in the middle. Here, there's not really much I can do about it, but for now, I have to kind of accept reality, but I want to try and keep this out so LeBlanc can't get roams off. And he can't poke me under tower. So I really want to use this wave as it's coming out, slow building out. Notice how I'm queuing, I'm trying to get this wave out. And there's an opportunity for me to kind of get a ward here. I think they pinged Graves, it was in our jungle, so I'm trying to walk out here, and I'm even too scared to go for this little pink here because Graves is quite strong, and I don't want to get collapsed on, so I don't even choose to go for that pink. So notice, look at my positioning here. See how heavy I'm leaning onto the top side because my jungler's on the top side of the lane here. The jungle, sorry. So if their jungler comes, I can just lean onto the top side. It's going to be harder for him to gank me. I know Graves is on the bot side, and we can win that 2v2. So I'm trying to really reset this wave. Why am I trying to reset the wave? Because look how awkward this position is here. I really want this wave to crash into tower and then start coming out. So then I can kind of get the wave in a position where it's in this middle little section here. Because it's so hard for me, like, you know that trade I did before where I ignited him and ran him down the lane? I can't do it when he's in this position. I can't ignite him. I can't chase him down the lane. He's so close to his tower. Look at that distance. So I want to make sure it's coming out a little bit, but not so far on my side that he can just roam freely. It's that little, it's like a recipe, you know what I mean? Like, every recipe is different, and when you're like baking a cake, it's all separate things, and it's all there for a reason, you know? So, and notice if LeBlanc chooses to go on me like this, you know, he can't continue to chase. I've got my corrupting pot, I've got my bickies, we're able to play these fights here. And now, even though Blitzcrank's here, I feel kind of confident. I thought Graves didn't have flash, so I was able to kind of pick him on the back end. I'm able to kite quite well. I get a nice little E, charge up my Q backwards, and we get a little kill on the back end here. And this is all from fundamentals of mid lane. Me leaning onto the top side, leaning towards my jungler, understanding their kill threat. Graves' ganks are quite poor. As long as I lean onto the side, I was completely fine. It's not by chance. This is all fundamentals leading to favorable fights because you're doing the right thing. Now, I see my support roaming up here, so I'm like, okay, what does he want to do? I really just want to get this wave in, and again, why do I want to get this wave in? Look how awkward this position is. I don't have any corrupting pots now. I need to reset, so I want to get this wave in, allow it to kind of crash back, come back in the middle, and play that bread and butter mid lane game that I want to do, with stick to my game plan. Because he's kind of like trapped him here, so I'm like, oh, if I put my bubble there, there's nowhere for him to run, so I'm able to just ignite him, get another nice little kill there, nice little donation. So now I just want to reset again. I come back out on the map, and what am I thinking? I'm thinking, how do I want to play this lane? Well, the thing is, now this little pocket of the mid lane, it's in a pretty decent position. And because Kiana was posturing, Usually as it gets like 7-8 minutes onwards, I don't like to play for lane anymore. That's just my personal style. I really like to push and move. If I ever have a lead, I feel selfish for continuing to kill my laner. And I see this in gold, like every elo, they get like bloodthirsty and all they want to do is kill their opponent. But he's already like 0-2. I want to help my team. So my default response here is just to Q and push and move bot lane to help my bot lane. But Kiana's constantly posturing mid. I'm not sure why, but I have to just go with it. So I'm actually playing for poke rather than the wave. And notice how I don't Q the wave, I Q LeBlanc. And he ends up having to flash. I get the auto off, but it's just not enough damage. I just missed my Q, so it was a tough one. So I'm able to kind of get this in, and what's my default response is to roam. Roam into bot river here. And because he's quite overextended, I've got my corrupting pot ticking. I'm able to get a nice little bubble here. Nice little Q. And notice how my default response isn't to get mid plates. My default response is to roam because that's what I love doing on ZOE. I love using that terrain. I love creating those river and jungle skirmishes. That's what I really love doing. And I think it will, and I want you guys to implore you guys to kind of try that out in your own games. Just fast forward this a little bit, shove this out, reset. I'm looking for Merc secondary. Again, you'll see me in a lot of trend. I love going boots second. I love getting my lost chapter and then finishing my boots. Especially versus LeBlanc, having Mercury treads is so good for the CC, so there's way less gank setup, and also the movement speed to both tether and hit my skill shots. That's just a personal preference. If you just want tier 1 boots and finish your Ludens, that's also fine. There's a lot of Zoes that do that. That's just my personal preference. Either or are completely fine. So again, I come back. My default response here is to just Q the wave because I want to get out and impact the map again and again. But Kiana is constantly looking to play mid, so I look to go for a bubble. He dodges it out. It's not a big deal. And what do? I start to roam bot here. Look what I'm doing. I'm pathing. I clear a little ward here. I'm able to get a deep ward on their Raptors. I accidentally used the pink instead of my trinket, which was quite weird. Get another little deep ward on the red. I see now Graves on... I saw Graves on the mini-map here, and I pinged it out. So now I know this is a free dive. And he just... I didn't know what Xayah had, so I just used Q, auto ignite, but I accidentally autoed the tower instead of Xayah. If my auto actually hit Xayah, she actually dies there. But we end up just getting the 1 kill on the Blitzcrank, force them to back out. And he ends up killing Xayah on the back end with Xerath ultimate, but again, that was just sloppy by me. And see, notice how me constantly roaming, this is not just getting me ahead, this is getting the whole team ahead. And this is how you really snowball a lead and end up carrying a game. This is how you carry on ZOE, in my opinion. So what we'll go through one last example, and this is going to be versus Nocturne. So, stay in your seat, keep watching, guys. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. So for this last little section here, I'm actually got a game versus Nocturne. So the reason I thought this was really important to show is because how this lane plays out is the exact same for champions like Yasuo, Lucian mid, Aurelion Sol. A lot of this really strong level 1, level 2 champions that you can't keep the wave in the middle, you can't shove them in, so you actually end up getting shoved. So, I'm versing Nocturne. I know that he's just going to Q the wave level 1 and shove me in. So what do? I start off by Qing the wave. And this is, again, trying to thin as much as I can. So I can... So what this is going to do, if I just Q the wave, it's going to thin it as much as I can so there's less minions for me to catch under the tower here. So that's what I'm trying to do, is trying to make sure there's as little minions as possible under the tower. Because I know I can't poke Nocturne enough. I'm autoing him, but he has too much sustain with his passive and his corrupting pots. I've chunked him a little bit, but again, it's really hard for me to sustainably poke him out. Like, I know that I can't do that because I'm just going to lose way too much minions if I focus on him. So I'm trying to get max range Qs as much as I can on these waves. If he walks up, I'll use my passive proc, my passive auto on him just for a bit of extra damage. But again, majority of the time, you ended up using your abilities on the wave to make sure it's as easy as possible for you to CS. So my objective in these sorts of lanes, whether it's versus Yasuo or Nocturne, is to either set up a gank in a long lane. So if he overextends, ignite him, run him down, try and hit my bubble when my jungler's in position and go for a kill. Or sacrifice a minion wave to go for a river skirmish in which I know I'm very strong at. Because remember, as I've reiterated through this whole video, Zoe is very strong at river skirmishes and jungle skirmishes. So I pinged that Nocturne actually leant into the top side there. I'm not sure what he was doing. Again, I'm defaulting to queuing the wave. Because again, queuing the wave, thinning it as much as I can. And then what do I see here? Look on the minimap. I see Graves invading and seeing Echo. So look what I do. I queue and I follow Nocturne. I use my bubble on Nocturne to try and prevent him helping my jungler. I'm able to get like the auto on him, and I'm constantly following. I know these are the fights that I want. This is what Zoe's good at, these 2v2s. So yes, I might be losing a bit of CS. I'm able to flash, he flashes, I get the ignite, auto, flash this one, bang, out. This is what you want to do. And you can't, again, if you're going to play Zoe, guys, you can't play like a bitch. You got to be able to play aggressive in these early level three once you get your Q, W, and E, because you're extremely strong. So now it's a lot easier for me to kind of, yes, I don't have flash, so I got to be quite careful. But I need to look for a reset at this point. And this is the theme when you play these matchups. It's very difficult for you to do anything 1v1. And that's just the moral of the story, guys. If you play Zoe, you counterpick by Yasuo or Nocturne or one of these champions, you're not going to be the sole carry of the team. You have to play with your jungler. And let's just say worst case scenario, your jungler's not good. It's going to be hard for you to carry the game. So what you're going to have to do is catch waves under tower, use pings very well. As soon as he overextends too much, maybe you can look to all-in him down the long lane. But majority of the time, guys, you're going to have to play with your jungler. Get him to come and help you shove out like he's doing right now to help me get a reset. So because Grace comes like that, he helped me shove the wave, and this has allowed me to get a reset. You can get your jungler to do that by just typing, pinging, assist me on the wave, etc., etc. And that's just standard practice there as well, guys. So if I get my Dark Seal, my Amplifying Tomb, let's fast forward a little bit. See how I'm timing Jungle Flash as well. And the AD carrying support, just a good habit to get into as you're walking back to base here. When you've got a bit of spare time. And ideally what I want to be doing is continuing to play those 2v2s. I don't have flash, so I got to be careful. But now there's that little pocket. I've come back. And one thing, guys, for you to note. Yes, you lose early game in these matchups, but once you start getting a considerable amount of AP, whether it's Lost Chapter or especially Ludens, like level 9 and stuff like that, they can't contest you anymore. You have too much AP. They can't actually just blindly shove the wave and ignore you. So, if you can sit tight and minimize as much as you can in the early game and not die and not let them get the snowball, then a lot of the time you're actually going to end up starting to beat them. And in this game, what happens is that I end up getting quite fed through just like skirmishes, and then I end up being able to push out bully Nocturne quite well. So my sole objective in this game is to make sure his first ultimate at level 6 is not a kill. That's what I want to do as much as I can here. And I'm just shoving him out as much as I can here, trying to prevent him from pushing me in. I see Echo on the bot side, so I'm leaning onto the top side like this. And I know there's not much kill threat. I'm assessing the kill threat. There's no way Echo is going to be able to kill me from this far away. Backing up my jungler here. I get a pink ward into the river. And I go back to mid. And it's really, see how difficult it is for me to poke on Nocturne, because he can just spell shield my W. Here I actually get the little spray gun here. I hit the bubble, which is really good on the back end, and I'm able to get a nice little bit of chunk like that. But again, that's just him screwing up. He should nowhere get hit by bubble. So now I'm able to kind of play a little bit more aggressive, but majority of the time, guys, you can see how much of like a counter these champions are, because he makes the lane non-interactive. And this is why I wanted to highlight this matchup. And, you know, people on YouTube don't really talk about these matchups, and they expect, you know, your jungler's going to be there all the time. No, that's not always the case. And it's a fallacy that you're going to be able to carry every game. There's only so much you can do in these counter matchups. And as you can see, guys, I'm trying to shove him out as much as I can so he can't impact the map. I'm trying to constantly use my abilities on the wave. If he messes up and if I land a bubble, yes, I can get a nice little bit of poke here. But specifically against Yasuo and Lucian and Nocturne, it's so hard to hit a bubble because they can just dodge it or spell shield it or whatever. It's very difficult. But when you do, you can get a nice little chunk, use your actives on the wave. Otherwise, you have to play for your jungler, play for those 2v2s, use defensive pink wards and wards to make sure they can't get roams off, and communicate with your team. And that's all you can do in these matchups. Notice here I'm leaning onto the correct side, onto my bot lane, because my jungler was doing dragon. I know that he can't all in me because I was leaning onto the correct side, right? And that is huge for the game. And notice again, few of these times this game, right, I've leant onto the correct side, which has actually led to beneficial things happening to me. I survived the complete all-in from level 6, so Nocturne's now has no ignite, has no ultimate. I've survived. I didn't even have flash, and I got out of it. And I use my ignite just for the extra movement speed here, because it gives you movement speed when you use your summoners, so that actually kind of helped me get out. So that's what I recommend, guys, is continue these fundamentals, and notice how this all ties in with knowing the identity of how you want to play the lane. And the biggest mistake I see specifically in these matchups is that they try to compensate and play too aggressive and they get solo killed. And like, oh no, but if I don't, they're going to do too much. Or like, I had to solo kill them, I have to carry. No, that is not the case, guys. If you get counterpicked like this, sometimes it's best not to play for solo kills. Play to farm up, play to get your main power spikes, use your defensive vision, lean on the correct side, play to thin the wave as much as you can so he doesn't get as much roam. And there's only so much you can do, guys, and play for your jungler to set up ganks, because a lot of the time they're going to be overextended. So I'll leave it here, guys. Hopefully this was really, really useful, and you can kind of see the difference in a lot of these lane matchups. Let me know if this is something you guys like. Make sure you go to the Discord below in the description. Cheers. Thanks for watching.